The Ender Dragon. The first boss to ever be added to Minecraft, and regarded as the final endgame boss as it flies at high altitudes inside a world conveniently named The End. Is there much to know about the Ender Dragon? Well, let's find out. Just to pay the Ender Dragon a visit, you'll need to find an end portal. These are located deep within rare structures in the overworld called strongholds. An easy method to locate an end portal is by gathering a fair number of items called Eye of Enders. Using these while in the overworld will cause the Eye of Ender to look for and float toward the nearest end portal, but only momentarily, until the eye drops to the surface for collection. The reason why you'll need a decent amount of these items is that these Eye of Enders have a 1 in 5 chance to shatter after use. After making your way through an end portal, you'll very quickly become acquainted with a not so friendly Ender Dragon, roaming high above the central island inside the End. Once you're inside the End, there are only 2 ways to make it back to the overworld: die, or kill the Ender Dragon. The Ender Dragon boldly circles tall towers of obsidian, of which on top of each lie an end crystal. Destroying one of these end crystals as they're healing the dragon will deal a solid hit of instant damage to the Ender Dragon. At all costs will the Ender Dragon guard these crystals, as they provide steady healing for the dragon, making it significantly harder to kill. Taking out all of these end crystals is widely considered a compulsory strategy in order to defeat the Ender Dragon. There are a few methods of destroying these end crystals. The easiest is by simply shooting one with a bow and arrow. However, some end crystals will be protected by a single layer of iron bars to prevent us players from using ranged projectiles, meaning they'll have to be destroyed by melee damage. The common strategy to tackle this problem is to bring plenty of ladders to quickly place down as you climb up alongside the obsidian towers. This strategy works quite well, but needs to be executed at the right time, or you may stand the risk of being knocked off the ladder by the Ender Dragon when climbing up, and stand the risk of falling to a swift death. You'll also need to take some caution when destroying end crystals in melee range, as doing so will cause the crystal to explode, which can deal considerable damage to your health, and if not, durability damage to your armor, and slightly knock you backwards. Standing upon these tall towers for too long leaves you very vulnerable to an aggressive dive or ender charge by the Ender Dragon, posing a fall to your death as your largest threat. Once all the crystals are taken out, the objective becomes quite simple: kill the Ender Dragon. Depending on the difficulty setting, the Ender Dragon can deal up to a spooky 7.5 hearts of instant collision damage. The Ender Dragon also utilizes a fireball attack, which if struck by, deals a solid 6 hearts of damage. Unlike the Ghast Fireball, these ones cannot be deflected. To mitigate the heavy damage output of the Ender Dragon, a full set of diamond armor is recommended for this task, preferably with enchantments of protection, blast protection, and feather falling. Golden, iron, and chain armor also provide enough protection, but offer a bit more of a challenge. Despite being the largest creature in Minecraft, the Ender Dragon doesn't actually boast the most amount of health, as that medal actually goes to the Wither. However, it doesn't go without saying the challenge that the Ender Dragon will still provide. Unlike the Wither, the Ender Dragon makes frequent maneuvers to remain effective throughout combat, most notably keeping itself at a far distance from the player until going in for an attack. However, every so often the Ender Dragon will expose itself as a vulnerable target as it perches itself on the empty portal in the center of the obsidian towers. This provides a great, brief moment to deal some solid damage. Keep in mind though, the Ender Dragon knows this and will try to compensate its vulnerability with its breath attack. If you're close enough, the Ender Dragon may use the breath attack that acts much like a lingering potion of harming. The breath will momentarily affect a small radius when hitting the ground. If this area is entered by a player, it will deal 3 hearts of damage soon after entering. If holding glass bottles, you can collect the Ender Dragon's breath within its pool, turning your bottles into items called Dragon's Breath. These can be used to create splash potions, and further down the crafting sequence, lingering potions and tipped arrows. While the dragon is perched like this, it's immune to arrows and will bounce off momentarily ignited. These arrows are still eligible for picking up. Standing too close to the Ender Dragon while perched can prove quite risky, as you could very easily be knocked up high into the air or sometimes even off the island entirely. All fire aspect enchantments are ineffective against the Almighty, but if you're keen for trying edgy strategies, why not bring a bed to a dragon fight? I wish I was joking. Here in the end, if you ignite a bed, it will simply explode. Placing down a bed close to the center pit and waiting for the Ender Dragon to perch will provide an opportunity to really deal some solid instant damage, not only to the dragon, but quite possibly to yourself as well. Yeah, I told you it was edgy. Ender Pearls are heavily recommended for the grand fight against Flappy Bird, as they simply provide the ability to teleport you to wherever you've thrown the pearl. This is a great way to escape death in many circumstances, as well as hopping between the towers to quickly take out the end crystals. When the Ender Dragon is killed, it will explode after a stunning light display, dropping an abundance of experience orbs. Simultaneously, a single dragon egg will spawn on top of the central pit, which would then appear to have an exit portal that takes you back to your current set spawn in the overworld. The dragon egg is a decorative trophy item. If mined with a pickaxe, it will instantly teleport to a nearby location. To pick up the egg, you'll need to push it with a piston, so remember to bring something to activate it. Additionally, when the Ender Dragon is killed, you are able to resummon it by placing 4 end crystals on each side of the central portal pit, like so. Doing this will also resummon the end crystals on each of the obsidian towers. Keep in mind, however, any resummoned Ender Dragon will give almost half the amount of experience orbs upon its death. End gateway portals will also activate after the Ender Dragon goes boom. These can be used as a method of fast travel to and from the outer islands in the end. You can use one by throwing an Ender Pearl at the portal. Despite the fight against the Ender Dragon being separated into 2 rather simple phases, the raw damage of the Ender Dragon's attacks still pose a decent level of threat. What you see here are commonly used items players use that help guarantee the easiest fight possible. Bringing every single one of these items into the fight is a bit overkill, but may help you visualize the level of difficulty you seek before setting out on one of Minecraft's most epic journeys. If you have an idea for another episode of another mob or even item, feel free to leave a request in the comment section. And if you wish to master the knowledge of the entire game, a link to the playlist of this entire series can be visited via the description. But before I end the video, it's time yet again for another trivia question. Can the outer islands of the End be visited if the Ender Dragon has never been killed?